G'day, you beautiful, awesome people, and welcome to the first of hopefully many upcoming videos like this, where I break down some of my previous speedruns or even world record runs by other speedrunners. This one is going to be on the recent Star Fox 64 3D any percent speedrun, which I end up getting during a practice run, and at the same time end up being a world record. So completely was not expecting that. If anything, I kind of go in with the mindset of, okay, this is just going to come close to PB. I may PB by 1 second. But in this case, it ended up being 20 seconds faster than my previous PB and being, I think, 400 milliseconds faster than the previous world record held by 30 cents, which had been held for 6 years at this point. So I definitely didn't expect that happening. And since it was a no commentary run, why not break it down, explain what's going on, and at the same time explain why this is now the new era for Star Fox 64 3D speedruns, and at the same time kind of explain why this is now kind of raised the skill level when it comes to Star Fox 64 3D speedruns, and how they also differ to the Nintendo 64 version, as well as the N64 runs if you do or are familiar with those particular games. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as I said, this was done during a practice run. This was day 3 of practicing, so this wasn't kind of like my previous red line or blue line records where I take a break. First run back is a PB or slash world record. This one did actually take a little bit. The first day was dedicated to Sector Y and Katina practice, although to be fair, I think the first day was like nearly 5 hours of constant Sector Y run-throughs, which does send you crazy after a while. And then day 2 was Sector Y and as well as Katina breakthroughs, and I will explain what the new breakthrough was for Katina, which is hopefully make Katina a bit like 99% more consistent. Anyways, time started when I took control of the R-Wing going into Corneria. I go for a charge shot there, failed it real badly there. That was a nice whiff. And then took the laser upgrade from taking out that group. We ignore Slippy just because it's faster. I'm sorry, good boy Slippy, but it's just faster to ignore you. Plus, you can handle that easily. Anyways, we're going into Corneria. Our main job with Corneria, and honestly, this is the biggest job Corneria has. It does seem like just a simple tutorial into the speedrun, but it's got the biggest job, which is setting us up for Katina. So we need 9 bombs. So I picked up 1 bomb there. Never got a clean breakthrough going in between those 2 buildings. I don't think I ever did at all during this practice time. So we got that. We picked up another bomb behind the mecha that was destroying things. Picked up another bomb there, which spawns by going underneath the alcove. Obviously, for red line requirements, we need to say Falco since we're going to Sector Y. So I usually just boost in a little bit, hand take them out with lasers. You can go for a charge shot, which is just locking onto them and releasing a charged laser. I've never done it because it can be a little bit inconsistent. If the charged laser runs into the pylon next to it, it does completely whiff. So I just do it by hand these days. Plus, while I'm waiting for the charge to come back, why not just shoot them down with lasers? Anyways, take these to activate the secret area for Corneria. But before I go into the waterfall, we're actually going to grab our last bomb. You can leave Corneria with 8 bombs since there is a freebie bomb drop you can get in Sector Y. But it's usually just easier doing this since we do kind of need to be in certain position for Sector Y, which does require us to ignore the rob drops, but I will explain that when we get to Sector Y. Anyways, nothing remarkable going on here. We're just entering the first boss for Corneria, which is the air carrier. Air carrier is pretty straightforward, and unfortunately, unlike the Japanese Nintendo 64 variant, this doesn't save us any time whatsoever. That's purely for swag. I've just done it just because it makes it easier when I go back to N64 runs. On the Japanese version, doing that does save a little bit of time and causes a little bit less lag. And then the air carrier opens up a little bit quicker in Japanese. However, on 3D, that's simply not the case, and we don't gain anything from running on Japanese. So to answer that question, why Japanese? All voices to me are white noise in Japanese, so that's why I run on Japanese. You can run on English, you can run on Italian, you can run on French. Probably not German. German's a little slow for dialogue, but you can run on most languages. Anyways, Corneria was about a 304, which is about where I want to be for Corneria. 303 is my fastest, 304 is about my average, so that's perfectly fine. 305 on a bad day. All right, we're coming on to the most important planet is this entire run, Sector Y, and why this run has changed. Normally in 80%, especially on Nintendo 64, runners will do Corneria, but they do the blue line boss instead because that's obviously quicker. It's about a 2050, I believe, off the top of my head, doing that, and then going to Meteor, and then doing the secret warp in Meteor, which then leads to Katina, which is where we need to be. However, 3D, because Sector Y doesn't lag as much, except for this area right here, I wish we had cockpit in 3D, because if we had the cockpit version like Nintendo 64, their strategy is to go into cockpit, go through the center, and you just end up going straight through it. It gives me whiplash every time I do it, actually. However, since we don't have the cockpit in 3D, that still does have that minor lag there, and it does take a little bit to get into the center bit. So that's the only lag we actually see in Sector Y. Other than that, Sector Y is pretty fluid. And since, as you saw in Corneria, we do skip the score count, it's another reason why Sector Y is actually quicker than Meteor. Because Sector Y, obviously taking out the boss, we do get some points, whereas Meteor, you would exit Meteor with a score of 0, which is another reason why N64 goes faster, plus Meteor doesn't lag as much. But if you take into account that we don't lag and no end dialogue scene as well, it turns out Sector Y has a bit of a time save. How much of a time save exactly? Yeah, we'll find out at the end of this level how fast that is. And even compared to my timing as well. The current time I have on the screen, 6:45, is about when N64 leaves Meteor as well, as a good comparison. So that was very lucky that my time splits like that. So keep in mind, N64 and even the previous 80% world record leaves about 6:40. Now, right here is the first biggest change that I have implemented to Sector Y. When I run Sector Y in red line as well as yellow line, it'll now be using this particular strategy. So normally what would happen, also first time learning to do this as well, normally when I do Sector Y, I would be coming from the center here where the Rob drops. So Rob would drop his bomb drop here, and then I would also take the gold ring here and continue coming out that way. However, as you're about to see, I'm not going to take that way. And because I've already got the 9 bombs, thanks to Corneria, I'm also not going to take the Rob drop here. So that does save a wee bit of time. Not much, but it's just enough for 80%. So as you see, I'm actually going to continue taking the right here. And another thing you would have noticed too is I've been taking a lot of safety routes in Sector Y with the right side of the screen, which is where you want to be for most of this, except for after the halfway checkpoint, you want to kind of come from the left. I did kind of breeze over that, but that were the safety lines for Sector Y. But as you saw there, I did actually take the right there. And what I also tried doing as well is I also tried to my very best to stay along this metal beam here. And the reason for that is because our position going into an all-range mode boss fight, this also applies to Corneria as well, which I've just learnt after 4 hours of Sector Y. I think I alluded earlier that 4 or 5 hours of Sector Y does send one crazy. And at first, when I did this, I thought I was going crazy. But it wasn't until I did some more research into this and I found out it does matter. This matters hugely. And the reason for that is because if you imagined this area out here as the battlefield, if we come this way, this is where we normally come from, the bosses Twiddledee and Tweedledum are sitting like this. So if we come to the center here, we're gonna pop up This is the orange mode. Twiddle-dee, twiddle-dum sitting like that. We're gonna appear in the center of them. Nice smiley face too. But if we don't come in the center there, you will find instead that we come face to face with Twiddle-dee instead, which means we only have to toggle down to target him. Whereas before, when I was coming through the center, I would have to then do a really awkward input onto my circle pad, which was more of a upwards that kind of like that. Like if you imagine the circle pad here, I would have to be kind of going this way because I've got inverted controls, so up is down and down is up. So hopefully that doesn't confuse anyone. But this would be the input that I would be putting. And then during that time as well, because the guy would be moving that way as I'm entering from the center, I would have to hope that I catch him going this way and mash as fast as I can, which is the most inconsistent strategy I have had for the 4 years I have been running Redline. 4 or 5 years, I've lost count. I've run this game. That's how long I've been running this game at this point. But if we come from here instead, the only thing we have to do instead is we don't do that input instead. We now go directly up, which sends the R wing down, which is the same way this guy goes. He kind of goes down just a wee little bit, but it's enough to do a 1 cycle, which is extremely quick compared to what I was doing before. So that is the first big change that you'll see when we go entering into this boss fight. So as you see, I can kind of going along the metal beam. I'm trying to realign to it because if he goes directly along the metal beam, you do hit the environment that's around it, which is annoying. So we're going into all range mode, and as you can see, there's Twiddle-dee. Twiddle-dee's right there. He's gonna go down, and guess what? I'm also gonna go down with him because at this point my circle pad has the input of going up, which you can kind of see here. It's not much, it's just very slight, but it's just enough that I should mash right into him and he'll die in like half a second. So if I get rid of that and then play, you see he's already down. So if we just quickly go back, so if we like re-enter the fight here, also you can notice too, this is another thing I should point out, because unlike N64, 3D does retain boost going into fights. So as you can see there, I'm doing a half boost, which is what you normally do during these speedruns. Half boosting is faster, but I keep doing a half boost all the way into this fight. So hopefully, when Slippy is about nearly done with his dialogue, I've done my half boost, and then as I go into the boss fight, I've got a 0 empty gauge. I go for another half boost, and then during this cutscene, or even as I exit the cutscene, I'm just releasing the last bit of my boost, which is fine. I don't need the boost here, but I will need to boost at the end of this. So going over again, boom, 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 he's dead. So the next thing I have to do from here, because, hold on, that'd be easier if I explain it with the map up. So hit 3. So as you can see, Twiddle-dum now. Twiddle-dee's dead. Twiddle-dum is now here. So what I have to do is I have to do a sharp turn all the way around, and then have it so, well, it's not really a circle. That's a lie. It's more of a sharp turn around here and then come straight back on him. So when I'm coming straight back on him, I'm then mashing into him, and it'll be lined up just right that I just go straight onto him, mash him out, and he's dead. And that's all within probably 30 seconds. So if we were to get rid of that and then see the next bit, I do get damaged a little bit. As you can see though, I'm doing minor little breaks, and as I get into this position, I'm gonna hold down for about a half break maybe. You can go for a full. It's probably preferred that you go for a full because it might make the next bit easier, but at the moment that's probably going to need a bit more testing. But for now, it's about about probably maybe a quarter break. I have done half breaks, I've done quarters. It just depends on how I'm feeling in the moment. So as you can see already, I am lined up perfectly on this in Tweedledum. Tweedledum's just going to try and fire at me. If you do get hit by him, you want to hope that you don't go flying off in this direction or this direction. One hit will unfortunately take the line away, and he goes scot-free, still alive, and that's a reset automatically, which is what you don't want to see. Or he can hit you and you don't go off track, but yeah, you want that to happen. That's what you want. So without doing any breaks, this is what the whole fight looks like. So we're going in, take him out, small little breaks while we're sharp turning, and then go for a quarter break, mash him out. That's the entire first part. Tweedledum is down at 6 minutes, which is incredibly fast. So at the moment, I have about 43 seconds worth of time to take out Tweedledummer, is what I call him, but his actual name is Shogun. Shogun, me and him have a love-hate relationship, and I haven't quite worked out this part, but going into this fight, the reason why we took out Tweedledee and Tweedledum the way we did is because Shogun's movement is actually based relative on your position and your own movement, which honestly is a pain in the rear side, especially when you're trying to learn this for the first time. So our current position will determine how Shogun moves. So my current position, as you can see, is actually in a really good spot because it means we can use this map here to determine how we're facing him or how we align up to him. If we weren't exactly smack bang on the center of the map, it kind of, you kind of got to eye a little bit and other fun shenanigans. So I think previously how I was ending up was I would be facing this way, because my strategy prior to this was I would come in, I would take out Tweedledum first and then make for a sharp turn. No, not that way, sorry, I lie. We go for Tweedledum, so I go that way, and then I come this way and take out Tweedledee instead, which means at this point I'm facing away from Shogun instead, which can still work because it works similar to one of the setups I have for Shogun here, but it is still a little bit inconsistent. And if I just play this out, you'll see what I mean. That's Tweedledummer taken out. So as you can kind of see there, I went forward, I boosted, did a bomb. The bomb takes out a lot of his armor as well as his health, mashed into him, and then Shogun's dead. Whereas previously, the setup that I was trying to experiment with, I can't even remember my old setup I was doing world records with. But if we go into it, as I said, at this point on my previous runs where I was trying to de-rust, I would be facing behind him, to which at that point I would do a U-turn, come back, bomb, and then mash into him. But sometimes that doesn't work, because while we're trying to RNG manip him with our positioning to determine how he moves, it doesn't always end up that way. So sometimes I do go for a boost, and sometimes I go for the somersault and then go for the bomb, but other times he will decide, okay, I'm going to go over this way, bomb whiffs, and then you end up mashing and you don't have enough time to mash into him. Other times you will hit the bomb, but because you've wasted so much time trying to line up with him because he's gone, something like that, zigzagging everywhere, you've spent so much time trying to line up the bomb, you've landed it, but not enough time to mash into him. He'll end up with like a slither of health somewhere, probably around there, and it's a reset. If you're playing at high level, that is anyways. If you're just introduced into this, honestly, resetting on Shogun is a bad idea. But for high level play, that setup is incredibly vital. If you fail it, it's unfortunately a reset, which doesn't help because Katina is also a high reset as well. And as you can kind of see, 33% reset rate on Sector Y. while not bad, I've had previous practice splits where reset chance is 50%. I think red line at one point was 50% reset when I was learning this at one point. I think even yellow line has even had a higher reset chance than this, so kind of why the fact that any percent now goes through sector Y is a bit of a bummer. Now, I also said take note of the time save we get here. 6:43 is about when Meteor leaves. So we're about 6:20, Shogun's died, 6:25, 6:26. I know it takes a little bit to get into it. 6:30. 18-second time save was 6:33. I think 30 cents left Meteor at about 6:40, so that would put me 7 seconds in front of world record at the moment, which doesn't sound like a lot, but considering his Shogun wasn't, when I watched his red line for comparisons, when I was trying to go for world record there, his Shogun was about 7 minutes, which is huge. 6:33. Even when comparing against Redline, I think my Redline is 6:40, maybe 6:50. That is huge. And that is why Sector Y is so much faster. 6:33 compared to 6:40. And that's not even going into our next major part of the run, which is Katina. G'day viewer, future me here, giving an addendum to the whole Shogun process to not make it as complicated as I made it sound in the original recording. Now, to be fair, it's been about a month since I recorded this video to me talking now, which is both a good and bad thing, because it means I've been lazy editing this video, and B, it means I've done a lot more testing and a lot more runs, and any percent may have changed again since that recording, which is always a good thing. The process that I originally explained is mostly correct. The way that we enter into the fight is correct, but then the way that I explained going into Tweedledum is a little bit iffy because I was using a method that had a chance of working compared to what I use now, which is still a chance of working, but then going into Shogun is a more of a consistent method of actually taking Shogun out. So after I take out Twiddle D, I then go for a sharp turn with the R-Wing going for a sharp right turn, but this time I actually do hold the brake down, making it so hopefully when I do the full turnaround to Tweedledum, I'm still lined up to him, and I'm also approaching him slow enough so I can actually take him out without hopefully taking a hit, and then being in the right position so I can then do a sharp turn back into Shogun and then line that up, which is still basically what I explained in the original video, but this time knowing that it's a little bit more consistent and it is still beginner friendly in a way. Everything that I tried to explain this the whole entire video, I did try to make beginner friendly. So not only for explanation's sake to make it easier to understand, but for anyone who's curious about jumping onto Star Fox 64 3D runs, hopefully easy enough to understand and take into practice as well. So that is still relatively easy. Then, unfortunately, Shogun appears, so we're in the right position. We're coming in onto him. This is kind of where it's easy to explain, but in practice, it's not so easy-ish, if that makes, understand. So you're coming straight on, and then unfortunately what Shogun does, he kind of comes diagonally. He keeps going to the right, keeps going to the right. So with that, you need to kind of go with him, keep turning, following him. And then as he goes to shoot, you'll hear a pew! And that's when you throw a bomb. You make bomb prematurely explode. You shoot into him at the same time, whilst also I forgot you need to also be shooting as you turn into him. Shoot, bomb, shoot, and just to guarantee a kill as well, you can ram into him, which also damages him, and 9 times out of 10 now, it takes out Shogun, which I was saying that this whole fight is kind of it works here and there. It's now becoming a 9 out of 10, it works. So a lot of my runs now, be it red line, any percent, or yellow line, is now making it past Shogun into Katina. If anything, now Katina is still the one that is causing the resets, which is how it should be. The other thing I do want to add an addendum to is when I talk about red line in regards to timing, the only thing I completely forgot about when comparing red line to any percent is that Redline needs one extra objective in regards to the run, which is we need to do a score attack of 100 in order to proceed onto Aquas, which is one thing that any percent and Yellow Line does not need to worry about is score attack, which is why there's a disparity between the times of any percent and Redline. Although, to be fair, it's not a huge discrepancy. The timing of 6:30 in comparison to maybe my 6:40 something is not really a huge difference, considering that you need to go out of your way to make a score attack of 100. So that's the first addendum I'm going to be making to this video. There is going to be probably a couple of addendums just because, as I said, it's been about a month since I recorded this original video, so a lot has actually changed in regards to making things consistent, and the only reason why that's happened is because of this guide originally. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the guide so far, and I'll see you at the next addendum. Katina is also present in N64, and the reason for it is because it's the fastest planet in the any percent route, so we want to go through here. There is no way around Katina. We can't route around this bloody planet. I wish we did. Anyways, Katina is an absolute pain in the rear side. So as you can see, reset chance 75%. 3 out of 4 runs reset at Katina, and the reason for that is because straight off the bat you could automatically reset the run, and the reason for that is because we need 10 kills to spawn the mothership. If we don't get the 10 kills, well, guess what? It's a reset. Then if you get the 10 kills, Bill can turn around. Bill is also the determining factor to whether or not the mothership spawns. Bill could be having a bad day and be like, nah, I'm just gonna compliment you instead. And since that's not the flag to spawn the mothership, it's a reset. And then other times, you can get the 10 kills, and Bill doesn't say anything. That's a reset. Then, even if you get the mothership to spawn, if you don't get X amount of hatches before it goes into the cutscene, that's a reset. Now, prior to this, my history with Katina, in regards to setting this up, has been one of huge pain in the arsery. Because unlike, well, I thought at the time, the setup we need is a little bit different to N64 because the N64 setup doesn't quite apply to us, and we will go through and explain that now. Anyways, the first setup we do is the same as N64. So what we want to do is we do want to drop a wee little bit down, and then we want to throw a bomb at around the top of the pyramid. So I did go a little bit under, which is fine. That still kind of works in 3D. If that was on Nintendo 64, it probably has a high chance of failing there. But to be fair, in N64, they do have friendly fire, which means they can manipulate who's dead by the time they come in here. I think Slippy's dead when we enter Katina in N64. Don't take my word for it. I honestly have not done this on N64. It kind of goes over my head a little bit. But I know in previous runs before that was Peppy and Slippy was dead. With them gone, it kind of manipulates how the enemies spawn around the pyramid. And the more enemies you have around the pyramid at the time the bomb goes off, obviously your score count goes up, making it easier to get to the 10. Since we can't manipulate who is dead because we have no friendly fire in 3D version, which has honestly sucked at many points in time when I'm trying to get up with strategies, this being one of them, I have also found at the same time, while there is RNG in the process, most times we will hit the 10 kills needed. If I get a 6, there's about a 95% chance I have to reset. It's not very often I get a 6 and then roll enough on the second bomb to end up having the mothership spawn. Anything about a 7 will probably get the mothership up. 8 and 9 is nearly a guarantee. I think I've had one run die on an 8. 7, as I said, it's about a 50-50, but most times you'll be getting 8 or 9 on your first bomb. And on the occasional, probably 5% runs, you will get the first bomb doing a 10. So I got a 9, so I do have to fire another bomb. You'll be able to tell straight away too if you've gotten a 9, because Bill will do his dialogue. And when you do roll the 10 off the first bomb, the mothership, I think, spawns 100% of the time, which is what you want. It does save your bomb, which is great for the later part of the run, and it also is great for the next part of the strategy too. So I do fire another bomb, I get a 12 in the end, which spawns the mothership. Or, as I said, you can get runs where Bill just doesn't summon the mothership at all. You cry, you swear, you tell Bill he's a bastard, and you go back to the start. And that's why a lot of people don't like any percent. Or Bill in that case. But just playing that fullback speed, we go into Katina, and as I said, we do drop down immediately. Not much, but just enough so we don't whiff on Falco or Bill. Throw the bomb, we go into full range out bomb. Throw another bomb there, and we spawn the mothership. So that's the first part of the run. It's, as I said, that's the easiest part of the run if you don't whiff. The other, as I said, the whiffing part, if you don't drop down enough. So I've had times where I've only just dropped down a wee little bit. So I drop down, as I said, just enough so I don't whiff into Falco. Sometimes Falco's up here. Other times Falco can spawn here. So when you go to throw the bomb, he's coming towards us. And what ends up happening is the bomb will go bang on Falco and you get nothing. And at that point, it's a reset. The other thing that can happen is Bill starts here and he comes this way. He lands into the bomb as well and you whiff. So that's what you don't want. The other thing that can happen is you don't throw the bomb fast enough is the enemies around the pyramid. There won't be enough of them, and as I said, you'll score low and you won't have enough for the 10 to spawn the mothership. And I can't think of any other variants of what can happen there. I think they're the only ones that can happen, is either whiff, you don't do it fast enough, or you do it and the mothership spawns, or you get screwed over. That's kind of the only variants you really get with Katina. So as I said, most times you will get the 10. It just depends on Bill. Anyways, the other thing I should have explained was I should have braked there as well when I was throwing the second bomb. So I throw the first bomb, brake, and then throw the second bomb. That's what I should be doing. It does kind of help with this setup, but because the setup is brand new, I didn't do it. I've kind of muscle memoried into my old setup, which is that way. So after you throw the second bomb, we do make a break for where the UFO spawns immediately with a sharp turn. So you're going to be seeing this an awful lot. Katina is a lot to take in. So we're doing a break for the UFO straight away. And then it's the worst when Bill doesn't spawn it because you turn around, you don't see the UFO, you hit the home button and you do it all again. That's what we don't want. So just pretend I have gone for a break and I'm de-accelerating from the break at this point. So what I'd be probably de-accelerating around now. And then at this point I do a mini boost. And now what we want to do, this is where it does kind of differ from N64. On the N64 variant of Katina, if I change my colors here, on the N64 variant, the UFO obviously is extremely different. It's a little bit thinner, and the other thing it has too is it's got these green lines on it. Unfortunately in 3D, we don't have this, which sounds like a minor complaint for sure. Unfortunately, that's a huge thing because of the whole complete redesign of this ship. I no longer have visual cues that N64 has. So what we want to do, and this is going to be an absolute fun time trying to explain this because even I don't fully understand this setup yet. I've only just started doing it, so it's going to be shaky for now, but once I finally understand how to do this mothership on 3D, you bet your asses I'm doing a tutorial on it just so we have it set in stone. This is how we do it on 3D. Huzzah, we're now like N64 crew. We have a setup for Katina. The only thing we also don't have compared to the N64 routes, I might have a comparison video to show how N64 handles Katina, which is where they take out all 4 hatches, spawn the core before the cutscene happens. Unfortunately, we don't have that set up yet. The best I've done is 3 hatches, and even then that is sus as all hell, because you either go out of it with both your wings, or you come out with a broken wing, which is a reset when that happens as well. So because we have inconsistent strategies, Katina is yet to be perfected, but this is the best we've got for now. So I think, oh my lord, I really did not do that, did I? Wow, good job me. That wasn't even an attempt, that was a fluff. That was a complete fluff. I whiffed that. I didn't even try. So what I normally would be doing, I don't know why I did this. Obviously, I must not have had a care in the world here if I got this or not. So we kind of want to throw the bomb probably around now, what I've done, which is correct. However, I mean, I might have thrown it a little late at the same time because I can't see the top of the UFO. I think that may have whiffed regardless, even if I did position that correctly. I'm gonna say I definitely would have whiffed that. But if we just rewind just a cap, like a second or two, we kind of want to be throwing the bomb now. So where I have my cursor is a little too low. We kind of want our cursor up here. Not too high and not too low. If we go too low where we are now, the bomb is gonna go boom. As you saw, it's gonna go boom here. And that is gonna do me absolutely nothing. It's just a waste of bomb at that point. It's hitting the outside of the UFO, which, as I said, that's useless at that point. What we wanna do is we actually wanna clip the bomb here. So that would require our cursor to, I'm going to assume, because it's very hard to judge this, I actually didn't get this on recording very much. I think I did this all offline with no camera, which, as I said, that's never great. I want my cursor to be around here. I want it above this, but no lower than here, I reckon. If I hit this, it's gonna fail. And if I go too high, like, I think my cutoff's gonna be around there. That zone, that green zone, like anywhere here, I think is what we want. Any higher, it's definitely gonna whiff. Like, it'll just fly over the UFO, ET phone home at that point. That's basically what that bomb's doing. Any lower, it's gonna smack the side of the UFO and it's a wasted bomb. It's not a huge deal if that happens, whether you whiff it or hit the side of the UFO at this point. It's completely fine considering that's what happened here. So it's not a huge problem. So what would have happened is the bomb goes off. If we placed it right though, what happens is the bomb goes off around, I think it's around here. So the bomb's hitbox goes about there, like it's about in a radius. So what ends up happening is this hatch here, there's a hatch here, and there's a hatch here. If you've done it in the right position, you will end up taking one of the hatches out, as well as weakening one of the other hatches, which is great because by time it rotates around, oops, I'll go in a different color here. By time we rotate around, because this UFO is rotating in a clockwise manner. So this hatch, sorry, it's either this hatch or this hatch should get destroyed. I can't remember which one off the top of my head gets destroyed if you've positioned the bomb right. So then what would happen by the time we go around, which is what we're going to do here, we should have the weakened one already in position where the next bomb I throw, or in this case it's going to be a somersault and bomb throw. The somersault I do weakens the hatch, and then the bomb I also throw will then finish off the hatch, plus damage another hatch we will then proceed to take out afterwards, if done correctly. Which means we can go for a second kill or a third hatch kill. You can potentially go for a fourth, I've yet to try that, but I feel like it's pushing it, so we probably need to find an alternative strat. But at the same time, keep an eye on the bomb count, because at the end of this, we want to leave with more than one bomb. We have to do this without using all of our bombs. We need at least one bomb by the time the core spawns. It's a lot to take in at the moment, I apologize, but I will try and slow it down. So if we did that, our hatch should be down. So then, as you can see there, I've damaged the hatch already. This hatch here has been damaged. This should be the one that's already been badly weakened by the first bomb throw, that if we landed that should be either badly weakened, and then the other hatch here, it's around this spot. I will go into another one just so you can see that. Black didn't come up very well, so we'll do a navy. So this hatch here, hatch around here, yeah, it's a terrible lineup. It's around here as the other hatch that we should have weakened. So this hatch, if we got the first one, this will be destroyed and we'll get a +5. That's how you can tell. I think it's +5. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, regardless, our score will go up. And then this hatch will fly around, lining it up perfectly for when we come around for the second bunch of bomb throws and somersaults. So at this point, I go for a U-turn or I hit the edge of the map. 1 and 2, it's either, it does what we want. We come up, we do the somersault and a bomb. No hatch yet because I failed the first one. Hatch should be down. There's one hatch. So at this point, we're just somersaulting. And now I want to go... And just the damage from my airing alone was enough to take that down. Once you have the 2 hatches, by the way, we need at least a minimum of 2 hatches destroyed before the cutscene. If we don't get the 2 hatches destroyed, and you will know immediately because Rob will do his call, if you don't get that, sadly that's a reset, because this game, I don't know if this is present in N64. I actually don't believe it is. I've yet to test it. I might after this just to confirm if it is, but that means I've actually got to get good. In a perfect world, we've got a strategy for 4 hatches. So if this was the Nintendo 64 version, they would have had 4 hatches down already and the core spawned and destroyed by now, which is why Katina is kind of a planet we can't avoid in any percent. We come here even in any percent because it's still fast. My best Katina on record at this point was 1:56, which is incredibly fast, even with 3D standards. So I get Rob, I by natural habit spawn Rob, because in some variants where I do get 2 hatches down extremely quickly, I do go for a Rob. I do pick up a bomb, but the only problem with that is positioning hasn't been great. So we do get the hatches, and as you see, 2 hatches do come down. These are the last 2 we haven't killed. But there's a caveat with this. As I said, I don't believe this is in the Nintendo 64 variant. If it is, ignore me, because as I said, Katina I'm not familiar with for Nintendo 64 variant. So the 2 hatches spawn that remain, but they do glitch out. Because we've already got the score, I believe, to spawn them. They remained down and we can take them out. Core spawns, and this, I likely only have 1 bomb left. Throw the bomb, and that's an instant kill. And that's Katina. That's all that explaining is for 1:56 worth. It could even be less on this run. That's how much explaining Katina needs, sadly. It is a complex setup. I still have yet to perfect this, by the way. It's been about 2 years in the making, and I've yet to perfect Katina. And even casually, like trying to learn this for a speedrun, I still have yet to get this. So if we go all the way back to the start and play this in full motion, all that explaining is just for this. We spawn, bomb throw, camera out, take down 9, throw another bomb, mothership spawns, you boost, which you should have been breaking at this point. Bomb throw, bad bomb throw, but if it spawns in the middle of the mothership on the roof, hatch should be near death. Hatch spawns. In this case, it doesn't, so back up strat. Go for the aerial U-turn there, or somersault, bomb throw. Hatch is nearly dead. U-turn, or sorry, somersault, bomb. Hatch nearly dead. Go for another somersault plus bomb. Take out 1 hatch. Somersault again. And then take out that without breaking your wings in the process. Go for a break there, so you're positioning yourself just before the pyramid, so that way when the cutscene ends, you're just in front of the UFO, giving you perfect leverage to go up. Go straight for the hatches, which are still spawned after this cutscene, which they shouldn't be. Take them out, U-turn into the core, bomb throw, and then take that out. That is Katina in a nutshell, and yet it is so hard to do, which is why the reset chance is 75%. That was also terrible aiming on my part. Oh my lord, I just noticed how bad that was taking that first hatch out. Oh, So I'm also firing because, you know, I might be able to take it out with mashing, but bomb throw does guarantee it goes down. That's Katina, which is why it's so vital to do in any percent. It's just so fast. Even with any other planets, I can't name a single planet that goes faster than that. Maybe Sector Z, but that's an auto scroll. So 8:28 we're leaving Katina at with a 1 second and nearly half a second time save there. That was my best segment so far for Katina. That is nuts. Unfortunately, I can't see what the previous one was, and at this point, I have no more time saves. I have done every possible time save I can do for 80%. Now, if I play right, my current pace should be 21:13. Well, that's a lie, so obviously something else has done bad on my previous 80% runs. G'day once again. So the method that I showed in Katina is something that I kind of don't recommend at all to any runner at this point in time. The part of going into the mothership and throwing a bomb, I actually would recommend, if anyone wants to run this, just don't do it. Don't worry about it. Forget that I mentioned it and just focus on going into the somersault, doing the bomb on the UFO, going towards it, then doing the U-turn backwards, somersaulting, bombing until you get the 2 hatches, rob calls. Once that happens, drop to the ground, somersault, keep somersaulting until the cutscene happens, take the 2 hatches out, throw a bomb at the core, bella bing, bella boom, Katina done. That explanation, plus what you kind of saw, ignoring the whole bomb throw at the start, should make Katina a lot less complex, a lot less intimidating than what I made Katina stand out to be. Unfortunately, that bomb throw would probably be the key to unlocking the 4 hatch, which is what we do need at this point in time to improve upon any percent of currently where any percent sits at this point in time. If you were to master everything mentioned in this video, you would get a time that is indeed impressive by the standards of the current standards of any percent. But once that 4 hatch is done, then unfortunately Katina goes back to being a complex, absolute disaster to explain. And as I said, the reason why I have skill issues when it comes to the Nintendo 64 variant of Katina is because the way that it's explained, the way that they go about getting the 4 hatch is extremely intimidating. Like, you watch them do it, and hopefully I'll throw a video up of it on screen to kind of show the way that they do it. It is extremely, I find it convoluted and complex, which is why, as I said, the skill issues on my part to why I don't understand the N64 variant. But hopefully, now that I've dumbed it down and just explained it the way that it should have been explained without going completely overboard with it, that should make it a lot less complex. Just stick to what needs to be done. Do not overcomplicate it. It doesn't need to be done. Just stick to what needs to be done, really. That's the takeaway from this addendum. It doesn't need to be complex or anything. Like, just go for it and then don't worry about the extras. The basics that we do is now what I do, unless of course I'm trying to experiment and expand on doing the 4 hatch quick kill. But for a beginner's point of view, don't even worry about it. Just go straight for the somersaults and just go straight for the kill. If anything, that is what another run of mine has done, and if anything, it's faster than what I did in this video. So yeah, just don't even worry about that bomb throw. And again, I apologize if this part is confusing. It's, as I said, it is the reason why any percent is the more intimidating run for most runners. But anyways, continuing on with the video, I promise there won't be another addendum for a while, so I shall see you in Bolse. Yeah, you knew that one was coming, didn't you? That's the hard bit done. Unbelievable, that's the first hard bit done. The first part of that run is just so stressful. Once you hit Sector X, oh my god, it's a big sigh of relief. Oh, the sigh I was doing at this point was like, let's go, we've got a run going. Sector X, all right, so Sector X, there is only like one minor hard thing here. And then the secret warp, well, I have to admit here, I'm not very good at the Sector X warp because prior to this, we were not, well, I wasn't doing blue line or going down to Sector X. I was actually doing yellow line, and then yeah, I also did Meteor, yellow line, then back down to Bolse, so that way it wasn't the same as yellow line. If we did run it the same way as yellow line, which should be around, if done correctly, yellow line should be about what your any percent will be as well in timing wise. So since we can't do that, we did have to modify the line a little bit. But yeah, we're doing this instead. So now I do have to take the secret warp, which I have never done prior to this, so I'm still learning the secret warp. B-drill does come down. I can't remember the name of those bees at the moment. I do take a sneaky checkpoint here just to make sure I'm healed up, because this can get a little bit iffy. So yeah, note the B-drill didn't shoot any balls at me, which was good because I did manage to get out of its sight before it did that. Kind of sticking to the left here just because it's safe zone. If needed, you can take out those 3 objects there to grab a laser to refresh all your refresh your wings if needed, if you did take a few hits beforehand. Going on to this part, there is a couple of bomb drops here which we need. So I'm going to try and grab them. Well, I say we need. I don't think I actually utilize them at all in this run, but I'm actually thinking about utilizing these bombs. So free bomb there, and then Bill comes along, and unfortunately I can't grab that bomb because I get knocked out the way. So for the secret warp for this one, Bill does kind of help, but he's useless, and at this point, this is why Bill's the worst. He's worse than Peppy. So you can forget Bill's there. You can do this without Bill. Just keep mashing into these, boosting, 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 otherwise you're going to get absolutely hammered by all the explosions and everything else once you're dead at this point. Grab the gold rings, they're going to be handy. And go for a full boost there if needed. Just boost, boost, boost. Go through the last warp, and now we enter the secret warp. The only secret warp we see in any percent now, sadly, because Meteor has been routed out. Kind of sad, actually. Meteor easier than Sector Y. Meteor also a little bit cooler than Sector Y. Unfortunately, Sector Y is the skill check, unfortunately, now for speedruns. Yeah, I can't really make too much comment on this warp, except hopefully I don't smack around too much here. There is probably a safety line you can take here. As I said, I'm not too familiar with this warp. I've never really had to do it until now, so what you see is an attempt. Nice. Well, first hit, I think every hit kind of wastes like a quarter of a millisecond, yeah, maybe. So if you can do this without getting hit, that's what you want. It's going to take a couple of attempts, obviously. A lot of practice. Give me about a month of practicing this, and I probably will do this. Probably not even a month. Probably give me like a week. If I did constant practicing of this warp, I probably would understand this a lot better for safety lines. The other problem with 3D is, as you can kind of see, enemies blend in so... Well, that's a perfect example. I didn't even see that was there. In my honest opinion. Like, you're playing on a 3DS, it's a small screen. Like, it's hard to see them. 2.4 time save as well. And now we go into the auto scroll section, so I am probably going to skip this because there's not much to say. Sector Z is really Sector Snore. Like, it's Sector Z. So normally what you want to do in N64 version is shoot down everyone, get rid of them because they actually lag the game up on Nintendo 64. However, since we don't have friendly fire in 3D, and the fact they also don't lag the game in 3D, there's no point taking them out. So you boost, the missiles come, so I guess I will see you when the missiles spawn. So a couple of ally cries later, and about a 1.5 song loop later as well, the missiles do spawn. So as I said, you didn't miss much. I was just boosting around waiting for the missiles to spawn. There's this level in any percent is just a complete auto scroller. You're just waiting for the missiles to crash into the Great Fox. I know. Normally in Redline, we take the missiles out. Any percent, yeah, don't even play the level, honestly. Yeah, just sit there, yeah, let the level play out. That's what we want. I think, honestly, it's a little bit hard to control how fast this level goes, because if there is any lag that I'm not aware of, I'm probably hitting the lag spikes now, I think. I haven't tested this. I just did this for the lols because I haven't tested this yet. But if you follow the missile, you don't get a cutscene like zoom in on the missile coming in onto the Great Fox. It just happens. So I've yet to test if this actually wastes any time or if it is wasting time due to lag or whatever reason. So that's normally what I wouldn't do. I'd just be not caring in the world and just waiting for the level to end. So that happened. So let's see what my time save is or where I'm sitting for time. I saved just a little under a second. Interesting. I either did save time or the last time I did it, it lagged or something. I haven't got a clue. I am going to pretend I know. Anyways, Bolse. Bolse! Oh, lordy lord, Bolse. So welcome now to the next hardest part of the run, Bolse. I believe my VC Star Fox 64 split for Bolse and for Blue Line says screw this planet. And my sentiments still remain. As much as I love Bolse and I've gotten better with Bolse over the years, Bolse is still one of those very volatile splits. You can have a very good Bolse and then Bolse can screw you over just because RNG. So this is unfortunately very similar to Katina. It's got RNG elements a little bit out of your control. So the first part, pretty straightforward. We shoot the shield pylons. I probably can do this faster if I shot the first pylon immediately right to the left of me on the screen when I spawn in, but I've kind of muscle memory this way, so I am probably wasting half a second by doing that, but if it means I get consistent shield pylons, I don't complain. Alright, welcome now to the RNG section for Bolse, where we need the core to spawn. So I believe at the end of that, nice skip by the way, by taking out the pylons we're getting a couple of points. So where we end at the end of this, I think it's 24, I'm going to double check, 16, 20, yeah 24. Alright, so for the core to spawn we need 34 score points. So in between 24 and 34, we need to get those 10 points as fast as possible. But since we didn't go to Finchner, which is Fortunia in N64, due to mistranslation errors, since we don't go there to take out Star Wolf is like, hey, since we haven't had any screen time yet, time to crash the party. So this was slow. I mean, I could have thrown a bomb here. I probably should have, considering I don't use the other bomb at all. So at 30 Star Wolf spawns, we need 2 more kills here, so I just, wow, that was bad. 34 core spawns. Alright, so once the core spawns, the method that we would do previously, and heads up here, 1 cycle for Bolse. At this point, I've only seen once, which is by Lila R, who was the previous world record holder for Blue Line for 3D. Other than that, I don't think any other runner has scored a 1 cycle on Bolse. I've come close. I'm not sure if 30 Cents did. I don't think he did. I could be wrong. It might be in runs that weren't in the runs that I've checked. But that's beside the point. The point I was trying to make was 1 cycling this is rough. But I've already lost a lot of time trying to get to that 34. I should have thrown a bomb a lot earlier than never. That could have got me a couple of extra score points there, so I'm already losing time. The core should have been up about probably 15 to 20 seconds ago. But anyways, for this next part with the core spawning, if you have a look at the map, the core is shaped a little bit like a flower. So I like to imagine it as the core is the center of the flower where the nectar grows. And then you've got the actual petals that come out like this. That is a horrible looking flower, but it kind of navigates my points. So on each of the sections at the end of the petals is where the structure of the core comes up like this. So it's a bit like a curved up petal or a thorn. You could think of it like a thorn. It is a thorn in my side because the strat that we want to do, and the strat that I want to introduce into Bolse after doing some research with the low laser percent challenge that Press A decided to give us and see if it was possible. Originally we thought, no, that's not possible. I will say this now, in case the video hasn't come out yet for that. No, we didn't think Bolse laserless was possible, but it turns out it is. And after that research, I found out how vital bomb throws actually are and could be handy for 3D setups, since at the moment getting a one cycle is so hard due to the lack of lag. Unlike N64, you can get a one cycle because of the lag, which makes it so much easier to line up for targets. But because the pylons here come up like this, like if you imagine it like that, the easiest way to get to the targets is to come from in between each of these sections. And the reason for that is because this is how the core looks. The core has little targets. It has little yellow targets, yellow paint, you like to think of it that way, of what we need to shoot. Now, if say we come smack straight bang from one of the pedals, or like the areas here where the pylon comes up, what happens is this happens. If you're coming straight on for one of these pylons, well, guess what? Your vision's kind of blocked. So if there's a target here, well, you're not going to be able to see it, which means you're going to try and shoot it, but instead you're going to end up shooting this pylon instead. So that's not great. That's not what we want. What we want to do, and I might be on track to do it, just depends how I turn, but I think at the moment I'm going to approach and hit the pylon. That's not what I want, so it's hard to do on the fly, to be fair, but if you can kind of readjust, which the easiest way is any of the shield generator pylons. Say that's a shield generator pylon. You want to come from the left of it, so as long as you're on the left of it and then go for a U-turn, it should line up with the empty spaces on the map, which is your best view for the core targets. That's the first step we need to do for just in general, be it the new strat that I'm going to try and implement into Bolse, or even just going for straight raw laser shots. You kind of want to be coming from those gaps. And it looks like there's a good view of what I mean. So you've got these things coming up. So if you're coming straight onto one of these, you can kind of see here, I can't see the targets behind this at all. So if there's a target behind here, I can't see it until it comes here. So the strategy that I would want to implement, I've yet to test this, but it didn't cross my mind until after this run, because at this point all I can think of is, oh my god, this is potential PB/world record, I have to go for this. But what I want to be doing here is, I might even want to be a little bit further back on the map, is I want to chuck, I've got one bomb here. If I got the second bomb in sector X, I think that bomb is going to be absolutely vital. 2 bombs, so at this point I have the brake immediately being pressed. I want to be throwing a bomb at the core. Getting the bomb about the center of the core will make it explode. You don't want to ignite it early either. You want it to run literally right into the core, and the explosion for it will radiate and hit all of the targets. So all of the targets, it should hit all the targets if my research was correct. It'll hit all the targets and already weakening or even killing some of them. I think this first target here should be automatically destroyed by a bomb throw if I was to do it. And then after that, you just laser throw, just raw laser at this point. The bombs should be recharged, and then, yeah, that is basically what I want to be doing. So that second bomb throw should be ready to go just as you're about to run into it. And then that hopefully takes out majority of the targets, if not all of them. That's what one would hope. I have yet to test it, but that's the theory craft route that I have for Bolse in regards to going for a one cycle. Obviously not what I did. I had 1 bomb, so I just went for the closest one, tried to clean up as many targets as possible. I probably should have thrown it right at the start, and then that would have weakened all of them, and then made it easier to clean them up. And then from here, I wait, obviously, for my recharge to go for a U-turn, also giving me some clearance as well. Unfortunately, I think I have 1 or 2, maybe 3 targets left on the core, and I had 1 left, okay. So that's Bolse. That was a slow Bolse. I'm at 137 and it takes about, I think, 15 seconds to get out of this. So it's a minute 50 is my best Bolse. Just a little bit less than what Katina is. I saved a second. Oh, that was a bad Bolse. That was a bad Bolse and it's still time saved. Oh, that's so sad. All right, that was a bad Bolse. But if I can implement the new strategy of throwing a bomb straight away, braking, and then going in for the raw laser shoots, and then just as I'm about to hit the core, if I haven't taken the targets out yet, throw a second bomb, if I have it, that is. That should, if not, take out all of the remaining targets and then making Bolse 1 cycle a little bit easier. Untested as of yet, but that's kind of my theory in regards to 1 cycle Bolse. Unless, of course, you get extremely lucky and nothing sponges your hits. I think, was that the run where Star Wolf ate my lasers? I think they did. So if I didn't pay attention. Let me have a look. Did Star Wolf sponge me? Yes, he did. That looks like Wolf. Oh, lovely. So if that doesn't happen, you can potentially 1 cycle. But if that happens, Star Wolf, one of the Star Wolf members is just there, sponging my hits. So that's not what you want as well. So that's why I said RNG hell on Bolse between getting the core to spawn and then hoping Star Wolf doesn't want to sponge your hits. I mean, any other time, if that was Venom 2, that would have been great, but not on Bolse. So I will play this at full speed again, so bomb through. It looked like it took majority out because I think I had couple of targets left. Unfortunately, I didn't give myself enough room. If I gave myself enough room there, like maybe with a quarter boost or something, and then went for the U-turn, I could have probably saved a little bit of time. I don't know how much compared to what I actually did, but you know, it's the what ifs you always have on a post run. But yeah, not a great Bolse. I'm going to admit that right now. I do believe 30 Cents had a better Bolse compared to me. That's where, unfortunately, it did matter. G'day once again. So, Bolse. Okay, so in my defense for the original explanation, I didn't really set myself up for success in this run for Bolse. So I went into Bolse with bomb, which, to be fair, is definitely not what you'd want to see. I would want to be going in with a lot more bombs. And with the comparison video that I'm going to show, hopefully now, while I'm explaining this, you will see that I have a lot more bombs. And not only that too, the explanation that I was going through about throwing multiple bombs at the core, that is now in the garbage. I did do some testing. It's inconsistent, and I just decided to throw just the single bomb approaching the core, but just as I'm about to approach the core, I will throw a bomb, so that way while I'm going away from the core, the bomb does its thing, damage, and then as I somehow I'll take out, hopefully taking out the rest of the core's damage things, and then completing the entire level. So obviously the big mistake I made in the original run was I U-turned way too soon instead of giving myself a lot more room, so that way I can approach with a lot more time to brake, shoot the core, la-di-dee-la-di-da. So instead of throwing a secondary bomb at the core, what you want to be doing with those bombs is actually using said bombs to be able to score attack quickly into the 34 that you need to spawn the core. So you need 30 to spawn Star Wolf, and then 34 to spawn the core. If you don't shoot anything else before the first cutscene of the enemy spawning into the overworld. If you do shoot anything before that, it will actually increase your score target needed to spawn the core. So example, I shoot all the shield generators, and then I shoot something on the ground like the little laser targets that try to shoot you while you're trying to take out the shield generator cores. If you shoot one of them, instead of it being 34, it goes up to 35, and so on and so forth. So if you take out two of them, it'd now be 36 instead of 34, and so on and so forth. which is not what you want to do, obviously. You want to keep it at that 34. Basically, the whole thing with Bolse, when talking very simplistic terms, obviously in practice it's not as easy as I'm about to make it sound, is take out the shield pylons as quickly as you can. Obviously, wait for the cutscene to happen, for the enemies to spawn. Then you start shooting down enemies. You can use a bomb there if you wish. Even if you are coming into Bolse with one bomb, I actually highly recommend using that bomb to try and take out a big group of enemies to get your score attack up as fast as you can. The faster that score hits 34, the faster the core spawns, which you would want to spawn the core hopefully before Star Wolf appears, which I didn't know was possible until recently, but that is the goal that you want to go for. If you can do that, you're saving a lot of time, because that way, while Star Wolf is coming into Bolse, you've got your core coming up. It's already up when the cutscene ends, or when you skip it, of course, which means you can go straight into attacking the core. And even without that bomb, honestly, I don't even know if it does anything. You could even go without throwing a bomb at the core. I reckon you do just as well without it. Unfortunately, the whole idea of a perfect world with an easy one-cycle Bolse core, yeah, there's nothing. It's just a skill issue on my part still. So even then, I can't really call it a skill issue because I've only seen one other runner get the one cycle, which is Lilat. And I've seen no one else get it, and even his reaction was, I didn't know that could be a thing in this version. So it's like the Gorgon quick cycle. It's mythical, you get it, you celebrate. It's a time save, one that's not a very easy one to get. It's all RNG, it's in the hand of RNGesus, sadly. You do what you can with this level. The only quicker way of speeding it up is just killing enemies quicker. Core-wise, just hope for the best. So hopefully that's dumbed down Bolse as easy as I can dumb it down. But as I said, unfortunately this explanation and demonstration obviously wasn't the greatest. I will throw up an example of a good Bolse that you should be aiming for and the time that you should be at. Last bit, Venom. Oh my lord, you're gonna be in for a treat with Venom. I can't wait for your reaction to this. Anyways, I'll be back. But it's not as bad as Venom. Welcome to Venom. If it's where most runs kind of go to die. If you're having a good run, Venom comes along and says hi. So normally, if I'm not using my bombs in Bolse, I would use my bombs there. Oh, and then I go too fast. I boost into Falco. Fun fact, if you go take this part too fast, that happens. You run into Falco and then you bounce around like a pinball machine. So I've already lost about a second or two just purely because I bounce like a pinball, and I have to go for this. I would normally go for the gold ring here to get myself at 2 rings, and then I take the next gold ring, go for a full health, which is where I want to be. But yeah, that wasn't I wasn't exactly confident about my Venom after that, so laser refresh for my wings. And then from this, we're gonna go left, left, left. So nothing's really changed in regards to strategies for Venom. It's just try and do it as clean as you can, which this was not clean at all. Alright, so I'm even doing like some barrel rolls just to make sure I don't get knocked around anymore. I'm sweating at this point. I'm nervous. I don't know if you can see in the hand cam. I'm shaking. This is the cleanest 80% route. I didn't think I'd be getting a clean 80% route at this point. I call Rob. I don't even have a reason to call Rob. Why did I call Rob? Oh my god, I somersaulted. The nerves were so bad, I boosted and went up on my toggle stick. Normally in 3D you can use the D-pad to go for a somersault or a U-turn, or you can still do the manual way that you do in N64, and that happened, and that cost 5 seconds. Let that stick in. That cost 5 seconds. And I have a habit of doing that in Venom on 80% and Yellow Line. I have no idea why. But because I had to do the laser refresh at the beginning of Venom, I have to take the gold ring there. I don't really have to. This is just kind of safety at this point. Like the way I've been playing, I've had to take a safety gold ring. Because I'm not even confident at this point. Safety checkpoint. just to get my health back up, just in case this goes pear-shaped very quick. I mean, as I said, this Venom is probably one of my worst Venoms to date. That says an awful lot. Alright, Golemech. Golemech on 3D is very interesting because this is the full fight. We take a laser refresh just in case your Venom went like that. But we shoot the shoulders, we shoot the arms, we let him come, we shoot Redhead, that's gone. And then he shields. I shoot, it refreshes. Boom. He's dead. That's Golemech. He doesn't die until Slippy analyzes his health. And if Slippy's dead, he just dies at that point. That's Golemech. So the reason for Golemech dying so quick in 3D is because one of the bonuses for running on 3D is we get... Now, don't quote me on this one because I'm not sure if this is true or not. This is kind of just based off my observations from running this game for 4 or 5 years. Damage multiplier, as well as boss health being not as much as they are in N64. So they're weaker, and I think our damage is also increased in 3D. There is an option to play in N64 variant, but if you play on N64, don't expect Golemech to go down this fast. I used to play on N64 because I thought that was the best way to play it. Friendly Fire is also on N64, so if you do want to play with Friendly Fire on to do ally manipulation to make Katina easy or whatever, that option is there to play on N64, but Golemech doesn't go down that fast. And that's why we run on, well, that's why I run on 3D. So I've had to adapt to 3D strategies over the years, just so we can get a faster Golemech. It applies to a couple of areas. Andross is also the same as well, where Andross goes down faster than, say, you would on N64. So I definitely lost time, as you can see. Oh, 5-second time loss, all because I somersaulted. If I didn't somersault in that one area, I probably would have been about where I usually am. Taking damage in that first part only loses maybe half a second. It's not that bad. It's the somersault that really is the time loss. And yeah, 5-second time loss. Keep it in mind. Welcome to Andross. So the reason why I take the laser refresh at the start of Golemech is because we can do this. If you take very little hits in the Golemech fight, you can just boost as much as you want, half boosting of course, go straight through the doors, don't even wait for them to open, it's faster doing this, but only if you don't take too many hits in Golemech. Once you pick this up, just keep going, ramming through the doors, it's faster. Why wait for a door to open when you can just go straight through it? If only you can do that in real life. These bombs isn't needed, this ring isn't needed, but we do take this, then full boost in, Andross is here, shoot for the eyes straight away, when he wants to, go straight for the hand. Ow, that was terrible. So one of the strategies they do in N64, which I'm not sure can be done on 3D as well, is once they take out one hand, and obviously they've got better aiming too because they don't have to work with a circle pad like I do. God forbid the circle pad makes everything so hard to aim. Try doing precise aiming with a circle pad. Once you get used to it, it's fine. But precise aiming, especially for one of the strats we do in Sector X on Blue Line to take down the robot for a quick cycle, that ain't easy with a circle pad either. It's another reason why Katina is so annoying. But once you take up this first hand, I'm honestly not sure if this can be done, but you want to be trying to go for that second hand while it's still vulnerable. But he goes pretty much straight into attack straight away, goes straight for the eyes, take out that hand. That was okay, I guess, compared to the first one. Go straight for the eyes, and that's Andross. And I do time a little bit late there, but that was a 21:08 flat. On the leaderboards, it is 21:08 and 300 milliseconds. Now, it does say world record by me, and we've had to change the leaderboard to allow for milliseconds. So yes, theoretically, world record does belong to me. 30 cents was 21:08 and 70 or 700 milliseconds, but that one somersault I did in Venom, that 5-second time loss, If I didn't do that, it would have been a 21:03. I am so kicking myself. The one mistake, major mistake, you can call Bolse a minor mistake. That's just RNG. I was like, yeah, you know, it's probably still a 20 at this point, you know, low 21. It's all fine. That somersault, at the time I did it, I was like, oh god, I've just done a somersault. It's not that bad, it's not that bad. It wasn't until I timed and then realized I could have been an untimed record easily if I didn't somersault in Venom. What a bummer. The one major mistake was the somersault, and Bolse was a minor. And then Sector X, I think that was a time save as well. So other than that, Bolse and the one somersault in Venom, that was a really good run. Can this be improved? Easily. No somersault in Venom and a quicker Bolse, you're easily looking at a 20-30. If we ever figure out the force hatch for Katina, we are easily looking at sub 20 for any percent. And unfortunately, with Sector Y now introduced to any percent, we're now looking at much harder runs for any percent. Thanks, me. Yeah, made these runs so much harder. Not only that too, as I think I might have alluded at the start, I can't remember, this is my second attempt at recording this. 80%'s been affected by this. Yellow Line already ran through Sector Y and Katina, so that's unaffected. Thanks, Yellow Line, for the inspiration as well. But also, all stages is now affected by this, and potentially 100% is now affected by this. So instead of going Meteor, we're now doing hard strats with Sector Y, then going into Katina, and hoping everything goes well. 100% though, I do question if that is going to be faster, because why do 100% in Sector Y when we're not going to go to Sector, so going to Aquas, but go to Katina instead. So Meteor might still be faster in 100%. But for now, that's just a theory. A game theory. So with that, that is the entire former world record for any percent for Star Fox 64 3D. I know it's taken that long for me to edit this video that in the meantime I went and did a run and I got another world record in the process, but this time it was done on stream, so there actually is commentaries, so I don't need to do another one of these. Kind of become a little bit obsolete in the meantime of editing it, but not at the same time. If anything, treat this as a tutorial, as a way of getting into Star Fox 64 3, be it for basic mechanics or basic fundamentals, or even if you are interested in the any percent category. One thing that this actually really helped me with, and it's the reason why I've kind of kept in my dribble drabbles even if the strategies no longer are considered consistent or even worthy of being used in a run, it actually did help me an awful lot to buckle down on what I needed to help refine and make a lot more consistent, or even just optimize in general. So a big example was obviously Bolse, and Sector Y was Shogun. I actually really nailed the training down onto them, so just hard focusing on those two planets. Shogun became a lot more consistent after this video, and even Bolse to the point of, well, you saw what happened. That really got cleaned up. I don't even know if I'll be able to do that Bolse again. It was just that there was luck, and there was also a lot of practice involved in that. So it actually kind of told me what parts of the run that I still needed to practice. And in the end, we ended up with a god run, which, as I said, I don't even know if I can do half of the shenanigans that I pulled off in that run, even now, if you were to ask me to. It was just partly luck, and just partly the fact that the planets and the stars aligned and just everything worked out really well. Even Andross at the end, I ended up doing a quick kill, which is, I can't even remember at this point if I even talked about potentially quick killing Andross. It's kind of just something I felt like going for, and it worked. So instead of just shooting one and then go for the eyes and then shooting the other hand, it's you quickly take out one hand and then quickly move to the other hand, take that one out. But even then, with like 60 frames per second, it's still kind of rough. This whole video in the end wasn't a huge waste. As I said, if anything, it helped me personally improve, which is a huge bonus. Just kind of putting it out there, what I need improving, what still needs to be improved, just really putting my weaknesses out there, and then just focusing on those weaknesses and practicing, and with due diligence actually improving on them. And you can see that with the new world record run of how much I've improved, be it the consistency of Shogun, the consistency of Katina, Bolse will always be Bolse, I think. That just might have been a fluke, who knows. But yeah, it's, as I said, this is still great for a beginner to understand basic fundamentals, be it for any percent or in the speedrun as a whole. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And as I said a lot earlier, I hope I didn't make anything overly convoluted. I hope it's been explained really well. Really hope that it just made things a lot easier to understand and kind of come behind the scenes as well, with the mindset of what as a runner would think going into these runs of, okay, what do I need to improve? What do we need to do in order to get times down? It's also that extra little mindset that you also need to keep in mind as well. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you are interested in videos like this. This is something I definitely would like to do more of in the future, be it live or even videos like this. And obviously with time, these videos will obviously get better as well, and hopefully they improve alongside my runs as well. So with that, until next time, hope you have a good day or night, and make sure to stay beautiful, and peace.